Hi friends, welcome to Rita's Paper Motif. I'm so glad that you could join me today. I always enjoy sharing projects that I've been working on throughout the week. So I'm glad that you could join me. Now before we get started, I just wanted to say or to introduce myself. I'm Rita I'm Rita from Rita's Paper Motif, your creative destination for card making, scrapbook layouts, and inspirations for your next projects. Now, let's see here. I'm just wanting to see what's going on. Here we go. Okay, so I needed to be able to see when you come on to share with me. All right, so maybe I need to start all over. Welcome to my craft table. I'm just delighted that you joined me today. Now, if you are watching for the first time, I really don't want you to think I'm cuckoo, but just had a little technical thing going on here. So I also wanted to introduce myself. I'm Rita from Rita's Paper Motif, and I like to create scrapbook page layouts, card designs, and 3D projects, and I hope that they inspire you to create projects for yourself. Also, I'd like to invite you to follow me here on Facebook, so if you you would never miss a new project or a tutorial. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel where I share fresh ideas every week. And of course, you're always welcome to visit my website at thepapermotif.com. It is absolutely the best place to stay connected with all the things that are happening here at the Paper Motif. And also, while we're talking about all of that, I just wanted to ask you, if you don't mind, if you're watching now on the live, please go ahead and say hello. And if you want to, you can tell me where you're watching from. But if you're watching on the replay, then also just type replay so I can come back and greet you. And I just want you to know that when you hit the thumbs up button, it just really helps my channel. So I just want to thank you in advance for that. So today I'm going to be sharing some cards created by, gosh, I'm having trouble with my words today, the product of the month called the Begonia Belle. And first we'll walk through some cards that I've already made throughout the week, and then we can create a card together that requires a little bit of a technique. Now, the card I'm sharing does use ink, cardstock, and a surprise item that I have here in my craft room. So I'd like to encourage you to grab your favorite drink. I have mine here, and let's enjoy some creative time together. So while we are getting ready for this creative time, I just want to share some things, and that is, don't forget that September 1st is the beginning of the Christmas mini-series, and I want to tell you that one of the reasons that I waited till September to do this mini-series instead of July is because we have a brand new catalog that's going to become available in September, and so I wanted to use some of that product that's fresh and new and just share it with you. So if you're looking for something new and fresh and you want to make your Christmas cards, I hope you'll join me, because I try to do this or organize this so that it's stress-free, also so that the ideas can include maybe what you have in your craft room as well. All right, so I did want to share this. Now back to the what we're doing today. I wanted to tell you just a little bit about the product of the month. So we have a campaign that's ongoing, and when you spend $75 in product or for a purchase, and this is before taxes and shipping and any coupons, then for $5 more, if you live in the United States, I believe it's $7 more if you live in Canada, then you can purchase the Begonia Belle. This month it's a Begonia Belle. Before we've had dies, we've had other stamp sets, we've had designer series paper, so we've had kind of the gamut so far. Now here's what happens. If you wait till the end of the month, if it's still in stock, then you still can get the Begonia Belle or whatever stamp set or whatever product it is that month. But sometimes, like it's happened once, where the product, it was a stamp set, it was so popular, it flew off the shelves and it became out of stock. So then even those, maybe you can only get one, you can only get it, the product of the month, one time for that month. But there were just so many people participating in the product of the month that product sold out, and once it sells out, it's not restocked. So if it's something that you really want or like, then by all means you want to grab it. So I do know, at least this morning, this was still available. Now once the month is over, if we still have this in stock, then it'll be for sale. But there is no guarantee that it's going to remain available after the month. And I guess, quite honestly, it's not for certain that it's going to, I mean, there has been one time when it didn't last the whole month. But I just wanted you to be aware of that because, you know, I'm looking at this stamp set right here, and I want to tell you, even just for the sentiments, it is definitely worth the $5. But this is also a two-step stamp. So you have 2 steps for the begonia and then 2 steps for the leaves. And I'll show you today how beautiful that can be. And then also there's a little background stamp. And I don't know about you, but I am really liking the opportunity to be able to use this background stamp to add like texture to my cards. So definitely this is where you could buy a brand new stamp set for $5 that has the quality this has. And they are photopolymer, just so you know. All right, let's get into what I wanted to share with you today. Now, I made some cards ahead of time here. So that's what I want to share. I also want to share, this is my stamp set, so I'll bring that out and put it to the side. But let's see here. My camera's a little crooked and it's driving me nuts. So I hope I got it straighter. All right. So these 2 stamps, like I said, are a 2-step stamp. So this stamp right here is like if you were taking your alcohol markers, this would be the one that gives you the shadows, you know, where the light would be shining, and then this is the area of the stamp, and the same with the 2 leaves. So I did create this card. Now what I did is I stamped the 2 flowers just on regular cardstock. This is Highland Heather, and then this is Daffodil Delight. Now I did use my stamping positioner, and we're going to use that today because Daffodil Delight for me sometimes takes a couple times of stamping to get the color or the intensity of the color that I want. And so I just use the stamp positioner. So that's this card. I used some of these little tulips. I think that, not tulips, I'm sorry, buds. So you can see this little stamp set. It's like a stem with 2 little offshoots, and then these are the little buds that you can stamp on here. And so I did do that, and I fussy cut them all, and then the leaves, and you can see the leaves. So one of the stamps will give you like the veins, and then the other will fill in. So I did that, and then I have an old stamp set for the word, die cutting set for the word hugs, and it has the shadow with it. So I did just put that on there. And I know you can't see very well, but before I put, excuse me, my flowers on here, I did some ink blending with the soft sea foam. Now, I have to get a new soft sea foam. This has never happened to me before, but I don't know if I got something on the top of my pad or something, but it has like little white specks. It almost looks like salt, but I don't know why there'd be salt on my ink pad. But anyway, I just felt like it was kind of drier and needed some refreshing, but since I couldn't get those spots off, and I did try like with a little like a gift card to try and get them off, and I couldn't. So I'm just going to get a new one instead of just putting some more color. So I thought about doing that too. Anyway, I've never had that happen before, and our ink pads, I've always enjoyed them so much, so I'm not complaining, but it is kind of hard to see that the color there. But I like to always put some color so it kind of grounds the focal point. And then this Dear Friend came from another stamp set that I've had for a very long time. But I just put Hugs, Dear Friend, and then on the inside I used this stamp right here that says sending lots of happiness your way. And then I used another one of those blooms. And there's also a little leaf that you can use next to that. Behind that, I put a little bit of the soft sea foam too. So I can't wait to replace that soft sea foam because it is really good for putting background. So there's one of the cards I made. And then here is another. Now, you know I love my slim lines. So my slim lines start out being 6 by 6x7, and then I will just score it down at 3 with the 7-inch side up here. I'll score it down at 3.5, and that's what that is. So I did again do a little ink blending, and behind here, it happens to be what is that color? Let me think. Oh yes, that was the that was the Coastal Cabana. Oh my gosh, I was losing it. And then I just stamped each one of those little blooms and with the buds and put it on there. And then this is another stamp from here, You Are My Sunshine. And I felt like it seemed a little bit flat, so I just put some twine on there. And then I'll probably go back and put some enamel dots or something on here. I'll do the same with this just to kind of finish them off. But so I'm just showing you the versatility here. So you don't always have to use these big flowers. You could definitely do those blooms. Another thing that I thought about doing, I just ran out of time, is it would be great to use these like tone on tone to make your own designer series paper. So that would be fun to do too. Now there is this other card that I made, and I want to tell you about it just a little bit. I used this with some masking, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make a card with masking, and I'll show you the card we're going to make before we start. But this is real red, and then obviously the garden green. Here was my thinking. I thought if this was the stamp set that maybe you have and you're not, you don't maybe like any of the new product that's coming out for the holidays. Maybe you don't really celebrate the holidays, but you still want to send out some sort of card. Or maybe you just like the color red. These are Christmas colors, and I thought, why can't you use a begonia for Christmas card? There's no rule that says that poinsettias are the only flower around Christmas time. So anyway, that's what this was, and I wanted some texture behind it, so I'm going to tell you what I used. I have, and we'll talk about the mask, so don't think about that, but I use this stencil that we have. It's called the Dot and Watermark stencil, I believe that's what it's called. And so that's in our catalog, but I use that with the Golden Glow ink and my blending brush, of course. And I just placed it on the card. So let's see, so I just turned the card. I'm gonna move some of this. So I just turned the card this way because that's just how I roll. And you know, I already have this all covered up, and I just blended on the Golden Glow, and it gave me those little dots that I like to think of as texture. So then I want to show you the card that I'd like to make with you today, and that's this card. And so it is using those stamp sets, this stamp set, and a sentiment, and then some little gold ribbon that I have in my stash. And then this is that background stamp that is in here as well. So I want to, and I use the background stamp down here as well. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how you get the flower that looks in the forefront and the leaves that are in the background. So that's what I want to talk to you about. Now, we have this paper that's called Masking Magic. Not Masking Magic, masking paper. And so there are, I think, 12 sheets inside. And let me pull out one of the sheets. The front part is kind of the sturdy part that stabilizes the package. But if you look at it, they come in these sheets, and they are 5 by 7, and it's kind of divided in half a little bit so you could peel it. The paper's not divided in half, but this back part is. So you just find the back part, and you whatever you're going to, whatever you want to cover so you can stamp over it, this is perfect for that. And we're going to use some of this. Now I am going to use some scraps, but you know, you don't have to, and I'll show you what the end part would look like. So what I would do is I would take my stamp, so let's do that. So if we take our stamp, it doesn't matter which flower one you use, whether it's the shadow one or the full area. So whichever one I grab is the one I'm going to use. Let's see, I think I'll just use this one because that's the one I grabbed. And we'll put my stamp set over to the side. And I'm just going to put it on a block. So we're creating our mask, so it doesn't matter, you know, how we have it turned. We're going to cut it out anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to take my Calypso Coral. That's what I'm using. I opened this, so I kind of want to use it. I don't know why I don't. Actually, I do know why. You know, when I take the pad to the stamp lately, I don't know what's going on with me, but sometimes I get ink over here and stuff, and it just kind of bugs me. So anyway, so let's just go ahead and we're going to stamp right here. Now it is probably a good idea, and I am going to do that. I want to get a really good stamp, although I've been using this enough, it shouldn't be an issue. I'm going to take my piercing mat. It just gives it that little cushion. You could use a mouse pad if you wanted to, but I'm just going to go ahead and stamp it. And there we have the impression. Now I want to clean this off because we're going to be using this on our stamp positioner. Okay, so then I would just cut it out. And let's see, I know that you know how to cut, so I am feel kind of funny asking you to watch, but I want to cut inside those lines. Now, usually when we cut so that there's a little bit of white showing, like a little border because it doesn't leave your ephemera so like stark. But in this case, because we're using it not as ephemera but as a mask, we're going to cut on the lines, or if you have to err a little, it's okay to be a little inside the line. Not much, because you don't want it too small, or that defeats the purpose of masking too. So it's not a big deal. But now I didn't stamp right on that line in the back where we peel, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to peel this off. So let's see here. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Now I already have some cut, but I just wanted to show you how easy it is to peel this. And it doesn't matter which one I use when we go to make the card. It doesn't matter at all. All right, so let's see here. This is hard to cut when you have a camera in between you and what you're cutting. So there we go. Now you're going to do the same thing with the leaves, and I already have some cut, so I don't really think that we need to spend our time watching that. So so I see we have some visitors, so thank you for that. Please let us know where you're watching from. All right, so I'm going to just peel it. Now, it's so easy, so you're seeing how easy it is, right? And it just comes off. And then this is what we're going to, I'm going to put it back on here. This is what we're going to put on our card in just a minute to when we stamp. So these will stay for a long time. Now, I have several because I did a card that had two, that red card. So I had two of these, and then I have some for the leaves. So so they've been without that backing, and they're still pretty sticky. You don't need it too sticky when you're just using it as a mask. It should be the same stickiness that you find with your sticky notes. So that's not too sticky. All right, so I just, this is how I put them when I'm working. I just put them on my little tray, and then they're right there when I need them. All right, let me show you what else we need, and then we're going to get to that card making. All right, so first of all, you need your stamp positioner. I do. Now, some people can stamp without it, and they can match up those stamps perfectly. I'll tell you, when I was practicing and designing my card, I got a little frustrated because you can just be a little bit off, or maybe you don't get the same stamp and don't put the same pressure with each stamp. So that's why I ran to my stamp positioner. And I do, these are papers that can be removed. They come in a pad when you can buy them. They come in a little pad. So you can have some. I was going to show you, but, oh, here they are. So they come in a little pad like this, and so you can use new ones whenever clean ones whenever you want. But when I am doing something like this that requires it requires accuracy, I will just go ahead and make these marks, because these stamps, I will tell you this, these stamps are, when you stamp them, they are really kind of sticky. So here's what I was finding, is that when I would lift up my stamp positioner, it would pull up the paper too, and it'd be all over. Well, you want to get it back in the very same place. And with our stamp apparatus, it has corners where the paper is corralled. So if you stick it to a corner, then that takes the guesswork out. And I do like this a little bit better than the stamp positioner. But anyway, so that's why I drew the lines there. You don't have to do that. If you can remember exactly where you put your paper, then, or your cardstock, then no big deal. That's just something I do. Okay, so you need your stamp positioner. We're going to need a card, a base, which measures 8.5 and by 5.5. And that's just a whole sheet of basic white that's cut in half. And then it's scored at 4 1/4. So we'll take that off, and then we're going to go ahead and fold it right now. And we're going to use our bone folder. and we're just going to burnish that fold line. Now for these kinds of cards that I'm going to be putting layers on, I tend to use just the basic white cardstock. We have a basic white cardstock and we have a thick white cardstock. So if you're not doing very many layers or they're very light, maybe you want the thick cardstock so that you have that nice quality. All right, you're going to need 2 pieces of basic white that measure 3 3/4 by 5. One is going to be the top layer that we're going to be stamping on and decorating, and the inside insert is going to be the other. So you need 2 of those. So I'm just going to stack them for now. Then we need 2 decorative layers that measure 4 by 5 1/4. And the designer series paper that I chose to use is from the Paper Medley. So our designer series paper comes in it has 2 sides to each page. So this is the one I'm using this side, but the opposite side is this one. So anyway, these are the different prints on each sheet of the designer series paper. So it's really a nice paper, pretty versatile. I think of this as like a nighttime scene. You wouldn't really even have to stamp your stars or your snow. This would be pretty neat for that. So I just wanted to show you that. I think this is very versatile and I really have enjoyed using it. So that's what I used for the background. Okay, and then you need a piece of a scrap of black and a scrap of white. And I really didn't measure them. I just pulled them out. Sorry, I just dumped everything on the floor. I just pulled them out of my scrap box. So let's go ahead and, and then you'll need your adhesive. And I'm using Garden Green. I'm a little nervous about picking this up because I had a all-out war with this yesterday. And then my little Calypso Coral. Now I usually will use the bigger pads, but this was on my desk and I have several of these, so I thought I would just use it. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the thing that's going to take the longest, and that is our front of our card. So let me get my stamp positioner here, and we'll get going with that. I'm going to put my card, I already have those lines. I'm just going to put it right, there's some little knobs right here, and so I'm putting it up next to those little knobs on those lines that I drew. And then these magnets, positioner is that the magnets don't seem to get in the way. They don't block the thing that you're going to be stamping with, right? All right, so let's go ahead and we're first going to get that same stamp that we stamped on our masking paper. This is the stamp that is going to it's going to stamp the, I can't even think. It's going to stamp the shadows. And so we're going to go ahead and put that on. And then we're going to pick it up with our stamp positioner. See how sticky they are? They lift up the whole pad. So I think what I'm going to do so that I don't have to go through that so much is I'm going to put just a little bit of adhesive on the back here. Just a little bit, so it'll kind of make it stay in place, hopefully a little better. That's a good stamp when it does that. Annoying, but good. Okay, there we go. So let's make sure this is still in place now. Okay, and let's get out our Calypso Coral. You know, what I love about lives is you never know what's going to happen, right? Because it's real life. There's no way I can edit out the bloopers, but. So I want darker, this then I don't want it to be second generation, because the next stamp that we use is going to be second generation, because these are the shadows and I want them to, that's what you see with your eye. I want you to see that with your eye. Then we're going to press this down. Now this is the easy part because that's what you get. Now I am going to clean this stamp off because I'm going to put it back, and I don't want to put it back dirty. And this is my chamois. It actually came with a glass mat, but I love it because I can just put on a little bowl and grab it when I need it. So we'll put this back and we'll get out that other stamp. So this is the stamp that is like the detail part, not the detail. It's like the one that fills in the area. So here's what's going to require some close-up attention, because I need to match this exactly to that. And so you'll see there's a little, I match it up with this little hole, not hole, but it's like a little, it almost looks like a teardrop. And that's, I tried to mark them and that didn't work. So I'm going to try and match it up with that. And then I want this space that you can see through that's white. I want to see that. I also want to see there's that little area there. I want to see that too. So that's what I'm going to do. We'll get it just right. There we go. I didn't have it just right. This does take a little bit of finesse here, but that's okay, right? We want it. Okay. Now I have to double check because I'm not, when I'm doing this with the camera, I hate to keep saying that, but it's true. And I just, there we go. Okay, I think I've got it. It was pretty close. Okay, so now it's lined up. See, here we go again, lifting this paper. So it's all lined up. I'm going to make sure that I haven't moved this too much, because I have. See right there? I'll double check. I just don't want any mistake here. Let's see. I don't think it's right on again. This really did move. So much for that adhesive, right? I didn't put very much on. Thank you for your patience. Smash that like button. Just joking. Here we go, for reals now, I think. Okay. Maybe I have too much pressure when I push it down. Maybe so. Okay, so here we go. Sometimes I have a heavy hand, so maybe I was putting way too much pressure. Now, the thing of it is I told you we would be stamping off, and here's where we're going to stamp off. We don't want that to be first generation ink. So I'm just going to take a piece of scrap paper and I'm just going to put it over it and just a quick tap, and then that will take care of that. And now, and I thank you for those that are joining. It's just hard for me, especially this, to see your comments and to watch what I'm doing. So ask that you forgive me there. So we're going to go ahead and stamp that, and you can see what happens now. Now we have a filled in flower. This is what you call a two-step, and you can definitely you can definitely just do it with an acrylic block. I just was not so successful with that, but I am going to take this off now because for the rest of it I'm not going to use the stamp positioner, which I would or did use to create this, but it just is a little more difficult when you can't see right on. So we're going to use acrylic blocks from now on, and the next thing we want to do is get our masks. So I'm going to use the mask I already made instead of peeling that one. And I'm also going to, maybe I should just use the one I just did, because I'll show you how to line it up. All right, so here we go. We're going to line it up. See how the flower is? You can obviously line it up. So we're just going to cover where we stamped, just like that. And then we can take our stamp. Now it doesn't matter which one of these you start with. I am going to start with the detailed stamp and put it on my acrylic block. And I'm going to be using Garden Green. I can't wait till we get all of the new stamp pads. It's just me. All right, so we're going to go ahead and, like I said, just ink it up. And so wherever I want the leaves to be, so, you know, I wanted them one here, one there. Now the card that we're making, I have it right here. So let's just, the flower is facing a different way. This flower is facing differently. Not that that matters, just so that you are aware. So let us see, I want one of the leaves to go right here. So I'll just press it down. While I have this same stamp, I'm going to go ahead and put all the leaves I want. Now, this leaf right here, if I just stamped it right there, it would go off the card. So I'm going to move it up, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp it. And it's looking kind of ugly, isn't it? But that's okay. So I'm not getting any, I want to make sure this is cut. Oh, it is. Okay. So I'm going to do another stamp right there, and then that's all that we're going to do with this distinctive stamp, or I should say that this is like the detailed stamp. And then here we're going to use the stamp that fills it in. Now this one I don't want to use full strength because I don't want this to be too globby. And this is green, Garden Green. I did try a Mossy Meadow, and I didn't really care for the look for these flowers, but I do like Mossy Meadow, and I also was thinking Granny Apple Green might be great too, or Garden Green. So it's really a matter of what you want. So I'm going to stamp this off, and then I'm just going to go over. I am going to have to get a little close here because this is one you really have to match up. These points have to match. And so pardon me, but if you don't match them, it's going to show. Now I kind of have a little outline here because I kind of dropped that leaf or that stamp on it. So we don't want to do that either. I think I can get it off with a white gel pen. All right, let's see here. And pardon me for having to go way out of camera focus, but you can see I just went over it, same place. And then this one. And I am going to try to to do it so you can see without getting, I don't want to get in the camera, but okay. All right, so we are finished with all of that. Now would be the decision if you wanted to use the this stencil. Oh, I should move this. Speaking of war with the ink, I need to move that out of the way. Okay, you could use this and then you would just place it on there and do your blending brush with that golden glow. So now would be the time if you want to do that. If you like this look, which is what we're going to do today, then you can get ready for that as well. So that is this stamp right here. And let's go ahead and use that. We'll use our golden glow. You could use any color. You know what? I think a light gray, like smoky slate. I think that would be a nice color. Or if you stamped off each time, you could do your black. But I like the golden glow a lot. So then I'm just starting. So you can see that on this stamp there is this is kind of a line. So I want to put that with the lines. I want to use that along with the lines on my card. So let's see here. I'm going to go off a little bit. Let me grab my extra paper. So you can see how this just creates a nice little background. You can kind of fill in this part with, when you have scrap paper under you, you can just pretty much just fill it up. And you let's see. I kind of want something right here. And that's good, I think. That's good. So you can put as much of this as you want. That's all I'm going to put for today. So it's really up to you. Now we can get ready for the reveal. I always love this reveal. It kind of feels like so satisfying. So it looks pretty ugly. Let's see what happens when we peel this off. Obviously, I've been using this. Let's see here. Okay, so there we have no green on the flower. I am going to take my jelly pen and I got to kind of get that rolling. But sometimes it really helps when you get some ink on here. Maybe it's not going to. The other thing I can do is kind of take, I hope I'm not messing this up more. You can kind of take your blender pen and bring the ink. This one may be dry. Yeah, I'll take my blender pen and that will help. This one needs a little bit of help here. Maybe this one has. You know, they tell you not to store standing up, but here's the problem. When you store it like this, all the liquid just sits in the middle. So I'll come back and finish that. All right, let's go ahead and finish our card. We're going to put this on the DSP here. Ooh, this is a new bottle of glue and it really is coming out. So I want to welcome those of you that just joined us. I saw when you joined, I just can't. I can't stamp in watch when you come in. Okay, so there's that. Now we have our card and we have our insert. So let's go ahead and decorate our insert while we're here, and then we can put them all together. So as I did in this insert, I already have green all over. I did some more of that border down here, so let's do that on this one. And it's going to be in this direction, so let's see here. This is our Golden Glow. And again, you can put as much as you want or as little as you want. It's really up to you. You can turn this one around. So it doesn't have to be like all prim and proper unless you want it to be. So there's that. And then let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment. I'm using my Memento Black, but we do have a great black stamp pad. It's a hybrid black, so if you want black, that would be the one you'd be getting, because we don't carry the Memento anymore. All right, so I am going to go ahead and ink this up. And with this stamp, here's what I found. I do like to stamp it off. Seems like I'm stamping off a lot today, right? Because you'll see that in some places, if you're not holding your acrylic block just right, you're going to get globs of ink on some of those letters. And I don't want to stamp that on my, see, I just saw some. I don't want to stamp that on my insert. So here we go. I want to get it right kind of in the middle, as straight as I can. Okay, and then what I also want to do is I want to stamp a little bloom here, or if you have some that you've already fussy cut maybe. I don't think I do, look right here. But that is a different color. I kind of wanted to match the color. So let's go ahead and stamp it. So here are the little buds. And I am looking for my, here it is. Let's see here. The little buds can go on this one. And let's put the bud on here. So we're going to do this in garden green again. Whoa. And I have it upside down. Can you believe that? What is wrong with me today? I need to start all over, I guess. When your stamp takes the ink that well, you check it again. There we go. Okay, and so I want to put that bloom maybe just like this. And another thing you want to watch is, my tendency is just to stamp it just straight down like that. But if I do that, the stem is going to be going off a little. So I kind of want it a little bit straight up. So let's see here. So it's off a little anyway. That's because I can't see straight down. All right. And then we'll just ink up those little buds. And these do match, so you want to get them right on here. I'm going to have to bring it closer, sorry. So you want to get it closer. You want to get it spaced so that these are touching the little stem. And that's what you can't see unless you're straight down, up and down. So here we go with that. This is ready. We're going to go ahead and put that on a piece of DSP as well. I used to not put my sentiments on my cards until I was ready to mail them, but then I found that that was like an extra step that I would have to take before mailing them, and it just kind of was a pain. So I'm just doing it now, and then that'll be my decision. So, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and put this on the inside of our card base because it's finished. I really do like this stamp set. That's why I like Stampin' Up. I do like their stamp sets, and but for $5, how can you go wrong? I did miss, that's how I know that one was sold out. I think it was it 2 months ago? Or maybe it was last month. Yeah, I went to get it and it's gone, and that's why. All right, so let's go ahead and put this on too. I just was too late getting there. Oh well, it happens, right? All right, so let's see. You could also get out your stickles or some sort of glitter. I like to put my stickles on a little acrylic block, and then get a pencil, not a pencil, a paintbrush, and just brush over, and that will give it a little bit of pizzazz there. All right, so let's see, where do we want to go now? We need to stamp that sentiment. So we'll do that on some white, and I am going to put the sentiment that says, "You are my sunshine." And I am going to stamp that in black as well. I might be pressing too hard, but now I have. There we go. So it doesn't matter where I stamp it, because this is scrap, and I'm going to cut it out. So if you have a certain die that fits here, and I sometimes have, I don't think the one I have out is going to fit. Let's look. So if you have a certain die that you want to just use on here, you can do that. This is too close. I'm not going to do that. I'll just cut it, and I don't mind fussy cutting. If you've been paper crafting for very long, you're probably used to it. I know when I started out, we didn't have all the nice stuff that we have now, and so if we wanted something special, we did have to cut it out. Sorry. So let's see here. Okay. Apologize for not being in focus there. I think I have my, I think I'm sitting too far back here. All right, then we're going to just put this on my, on the black, and then we'll cut that out too. Actually, maybe we can do some cutting before. So I'll just cut. Just cut a little rectangle. We'll have to cut it again, but gosh, I have green over here. I don't know what's going on. All right, let's see. Okay, and then I am going to cut that just a little bit. It's a little bit too tall, so I'm going to cut it just a little bit. Do I dare? Let's see. And we want it straight. Okay. I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals, but before I do that, I want to put some of that, I guess we're not using the gold ribbon because this is all I have left. Let's see if I have any other kind of ribbon. We can definitely put white. That's Calypso Coral. I don't know that I want white on it though, because I don't think I want white. Let me see here. I have red, but that doesn't match the Calypso Coral. You know what? I always think about this sometimes a little later, but when you don't have the color ribbon you want, you can always make that color. So let's just do that. So I'm taking some of this big white, and we're going to make it Calypso Coral. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move all of this out of the way. We're gonna put our ribbon on this scrap paper. And we'll just take our ink. You could do this, you can make it green too if you wanted to. So, and I do both sides. So any color that you don't have, you can definitely make. And once it dries, it will be it'll be more even. So let's just let that dry. Let me clean off my hands. Let's see. I'll put up some of these stamps while we've kind of given that a second to dry. Okay, so I will put up my stamps back on my stamp set. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. Now, I want to take this, just in case it's not completely dry, and I want to do one of those loopy things. Now, I hope this isn't going to be, You know, I really think this is too much, so we're just not going to, we're not going to use it. It's too much. We can take some twine and just make some loops. I always like to have a little bit of texture on my cards, so I'm kind of scrambling here. So we'll just, yeah, that's what we'll do. Lay that. I'm going to show you what sometimes I do is that you can just take some household tape. It's not going to show, and you can just tape that down so you don't have to struggle with it. And then we're going to put this on our card with dimensionals. And I am like the queen of dimensionals, so you probably, well, just know that I don't mind using dimensionals, however many I feel like I want to use at the moment. They're very cost effective, and I don't want, when my card goes through the machine at the post office, I don't want to be worried about my card coming out all wonky, or the sentiment coming out all wonky. There's a lot of other stuff that could go wrong. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to trim this off because it's too dangly. So you can give it a haircut so it's not unruly. And then we're going to put it on our card. Oops. I don't push it all the way down till I'm sure it's straight. And then we're going to decorate it with some, let's see, I want to use some bling. So I am going to use these druzy embellishments. I'm going to use the gold, and you can use whatever size you want. These are smaller and larger. Because I kind of want a little more bling, I am going to use the larger ones. Now this one is the one using smaller ones, so it's really up to you what you want to use. It's really up to you. Let's see. So I like to put them in odd numbers. I think I'll put 2 more. Where would I want to put them? Let's see, I'm going to move this. I'll put 2 there, and I'm going to put this one right there. Okay, you really can put them anywhere you want. So let's bring everything in. We're finished with our card. And I just want to make a couple of apologies here. I must have my setup too far back because I do feel like I was out of the view for a few things, but sorry about that. So there's the card I made before the card we made today. And I did want to tell you my blender pens weren't working. I think they're kind of dried out because it means I haven't used them enough. But on this one, you can see where I used the blender pen to kind of like blend it in a little more. It gives it a little bit of a richer look. But this is definitely looks good to me. So You can use whatever color you want. You could even make them blue. You could put, this is the same size, and I did mask off this, and then I, you know, did stamp this card. So you could even fit 2 cards if you wanted to. So that is an option as well. And then don't forget your slim lines. You could, I could have put a begonia here and then decorated the rest here, but sometimes I like to play with the rest of the stamp set just to see how far we can get it and use and make use of it. So for $5 extra a month, you can create some very good cards. And this is just a kind of a taste testing thing. I mean, you could be as elaborate as you want or as simple as you want. Whatever your style is, this lends to all of those styles. So thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to pick up your masking paper. And as always, see you next week. Bye now.